excited to talk about this win, but I have a question. Hit me, buddy. We're really doing the Nylander thing again, huh? Again? When did we stop? Let's go! Why not? The Toronto Maple Leafs! I guess my brand is a yell and scream. I don't script these. Are the Leafs alright? So what you get is from the heart. Welcome to LFR. Victory Puppy Ziggy, one for the big win last night, and another one for the one they should have had the other night. You forgived him, right? Yeah, you forgived him. Leafs win! 2-1 over the Ottawa Senators. In a game that featured fewer total goals than the entire deficit the Leafs gave up in the game before, because Leafs, I want to address two things before we actually talk about this game. There were only 3 goals anyway. One, something super cool. Here's a picture of me and David Ayers on Jeff Merrick's outdoor rink. Oh yeah, that's really him, and that's really me. What were we doing there? I'm not going to tell you, but you'll find out on Sportsnet's YouTube channel coming up shortly. I think some of it might be on TV too, fancy. Now, the not so fun thing heading into this game. This was the cover of the Toronto Sun that features a hand drawing of William Nylander. And not even an up-to-date one, because he's clean-shaven and is wearing 29. And it says, assembly still required. William Nylander is like buying furniture from IKEA with the instructions somehow missing from the package. A lot of people freaked out, and I don't know why, because I compare it to this. Imagine Taylor Swift goes on stage at a Taylor Swift concert, and then Taylor Swift begins singing Taylor Swift songs, and then everyone in attendance went, can you believe Taylor Swift is singing Taylor Swift songs right now? Yes! Because at a Taylor Swift concert, I expect to hear Taylor Swift hits. Well, Steve Simmons then writes a piece critical of William Nylander. What did you think? What are you new here? For those of you who are legitimately new here, that happens a lot. For those of you who aren't new here, you knew this! I'm gonna make a video about this for Sportsnet, but the conversation around William Nylander is broken, and this is a great example of it. Because here are the facts as I see them. William Nylander has not been very good the past few games, which is true. And then his defenders pull out this stat and that stat and that stat, and it's on the whole season. I'm not talking about on the whole season, I'm talking about these last few games. And people criticize William Nylander after he has a few off games, and they're like, why doesn't anyone see this? Even if they do see it, the criticism of William Nylander in years past was so cartoony that people don't take the criticism seriously. And as a result of years of cartoonish criticism, some people think he's absolutely Teflon, and others think he's a washed up garbage dumpster bum. And I promise you, you're both wrong. He was not very good in the past few games. What about in this game? Oh right, there was this game, let's talk about it! Because it wasn't just Nylander, it was the entire second line taking criticism after the past couple games. And to me, from the beginning of the game to the end, they were the most noticeably improved line, at least visually. Hyman and John Tavares were playing absolutely possessed, and William Nylander seemed to have a renewed urgency to his game. He's battling through whatever he's going through, which I appreciate. You don't have to score every game. Just battle. Now here's the bad news. The team around that line was awful in the first 10-15 minutes. The Leafs didn't really feel in danger. They weren't getting dominated by the Senators. There was that one weird scoring chance from Nikita Zaitsev, but otherwise it was just kind of an anemic affair where the Leafs didn't generate any offense. Final 5 minutes of the period, Zach Hyman makes a desperation pass to John Tavares, who gronks his way to the net, backhand stopped by Matt Murray, but it's a decent end to an otherwise awful period where the Leafs only had 6 shot attempts. Not shots, shot attempts. No blocks, no missed shots. They just didn't throw the puck at Matt Murray at all, which feels like a bad game plan. Have you seen his stats? Okay, forget his stats. Have you seen how the back of his jersey is faded because it's basically sun-dyed from the goal light? Yeah. Shoot! And at the end of the first period, the Leafs do shoot, and they score, but it's immediately waved off. Rebound in front, Joe Thornton with the nice move, stopped by Matt Murray, but then he shoves the puck across the line. But it's no goal, and people seem confused. Here's the thing. I know that rule, and I immediately was like, that's no goal. A lot of people were confused. And it just plays into what I've been saying about hockey for a long time now. You can't just pick it up. Like, even as a fan, it's really difficult to just pick up. And as a guy who watches hockey for a living, I still find myself on a lot of occasions going, I didn't know that was a thing. Like, for example, I know that you're not allowed to shove a goalie's equipment into the net. That's what Joe Thornton did on this one. And it's a rule because otherwise everyone would just javelin their way into the net like a Spartan. It's dangerous, it can't be allowed. But then people are asking, but Thornton had his stick on the puck the whole time. Shouldn't that be allowed? I don't know! Every rule has like 9 rules within it! People are talking about the puck being loose. It doesn't matter. And then people were saying, well, that rule is dumb. Doesn't matter if it's dumb, it's a rule. I also don't think it's dumb, because the Leafs have benefited from this rule in the past, and you gotta flip it on its head. Like, imagine the Kachucks. Again, just javelin, just pole vault their way into Freddie, and it goes in. You know how many more goals they would score if that was allowed? And Joe Thornton was not about to injure Matt Murray on this play. He was just basically gently shoving the pad. But if you allow that goal, you got to allow some much uglier goals in which a goalie is definitely going to get speared in the throat or something. That goal can't count, and it didn't count, so now we go to the second. Once again, shot from the point, and it's Joe Thornton who tips it in. No goal! Waved off right away. Once again, stick above the shoulder. I know that. That doesn't count. But what if the puck doesn't hit the part of his stick that's above his shoulder? It hits the shaft of the stick that's lower. I don't know. There's so many rules! So I guess it doesn't matter where the puck hits the stick, because the whole point of getting rid of high sticking, it's not a competitive advantage, it's that they don't want you wielding your blade in people's face. It's like a few years ago, Andrew Shaw scored a goal, I think it was an overtime winner, with his head. He headbutted it on purpose into the net, and it did not count. The only argument I have that it should count is it's hilarious. But now what if every time the puck is in the air in front of the net, you just get a bunch of people? Imagine Pierre Engvall doing that. He'd kill someone. Just like with the last disallowed goal, it's frustrating that the Leafs should be up 2-0, but they also shouldn't. I understand why those rules are in place. It's sad. Keep going with the game. Can we get to goals that actually counted? Yes, I have just the guy for you. Justin Hall, coming in on the Ottawa Senators. That shot, it's uncorked. He told you, and here it comes. He doesn't shoot it. He doesn't shoot it. Because Austin Matthews is open. He passes it. That's what you do when Austin Matthews is open. Morgan! I'm not saying I'm gonna stay mad at you for that, but you do have to bring me takeout. Austin Matthews blasts that puck, punishes it, vaporizes it, claps that puck like he caught it tweeting about him. Kinda concerning, but it looks cool. Austin Matthews with his 14th goal. How? And the Leafs are up 1-0. I love having Austin Matthews on my team. I love that he's scoring. I love that this is probably the best goal scoring rate any Leaf has ever had, but I can't forgive him. I cannot forgive him. I'll never forgive him for not doing the point. Your line mate had 2 goals disallowed. You gotta do the, come on. This is funny. This is one of those things where I'm watching the game, but I'm also following along on Twitter as the game is happening. I have to have both screens. And it was kind of unreal how much people let the first like 10-15 minutes of the first period affect the entire game. Because to me, yeah, you're right. The first part of the first period was terrible. But heading into the third, I'm like, yeah, they're doing better. They're making a comeback, and I mean, they're winning the game. Isn't that what we all want? No, responded a lot of people. They want the Sens to be buried. I'm sorry, can I just say you're falling into the same trap the Leafs did last game, and that's why they lost? This is the National Hockey League. Some teams are better than others, for sure, but every team's got a chance, and you have to respect them. Last year's Detroit Red Wings had a winning record against last year's Boston Bruins. So you need to stop going into every single game thinking the Leafs are going to beat the Sens 10-1, because when does that ever happen? Like Tampa Bay wins most of their games. They do not win most of their games 6-0. Anyway, I'm getting caught up. About halfway through the third period, the Leafs are doing a good job until they allow a partial odd man rush. Austin Matthews doing his best to get back in time. Chris Tierney over to Brady Tkachuk. And oh, Matthews did get back in time, and that was the problem. Before we go to the third, though, the Sens strike late again. I'm looking on NHL.com. They still have the goal as Brady Tkachuk's, but Austin Matthews gets a piece of it too. I'm not going to hold that against him. Good play from Tierney and from Tkachuk and from the Sens, and now it's tied heading into the third. Halfway through the third, the Leafs have a power play, and it's relatively unsuccessful. The Sens actually did a very good job in this game of not really letting the Leafs get set up. But the Leafs keep the pressure on, and a completely random mishmash of players is out there doing a good job. I think the 5 out there were Kerfoot, Thornton, Boyd, Muzzin, and Brody. None of those players play together. Literally 3 different forwards from 3 different lines and 2 different defensemen from 2 different pairings. Jake Muzzin throws the puck on from the point. Joe Thornton is in front doing whatever this is, but it's physically impressive. That's very flexible, and it's a screen. Alexander Kerfoot from the ridiculous angle off Matt Murray's head, off the post, and trickles just across the line, but it counts, and the Leafs have the 2-1 lead. And then from then on, all the Leafs have to do is defend a lead. Uh-oh! But it actually goes pretty well, and it's low event. The Leafs, I thought, had more opportunities late than the Sens did. Hyman had a point-blank chance, Mikheyev with a great rush. It was only Connor Brown in the final minute who had a good opportunity to score, but Frederik Andersen comes up with the save. And luckily, we all remembered the golden rule. When the Leafs lose, it's Freddie's fault, and when they win, it's not. Seriously, it's not fair. He stops 27 of 28, and the Leafs pick up the 2-1 win. And I figured it out with Freddie. I figured it out. No matter how good or bad they are, no matter how high or low they are in the standings, the Leafs don't have the full trust of this fan base because of the playoffs. Yeah, okay, they're in first place, but what about the playoffs? How are they going to look in the playoffs? And that is a team problem. A lot of individuals skirt that criticism. It's a team thing. Except for Frederik Andersen. And it just feels like whenever he has a good game, people are like, okay. And when he has a bad one, it's like, I told ya! Leafs Nation, Frederik Andersen is your starting goalie, and he's a good one. Put some respect on his name. Questions. Are we okay? Well, you know, I'm trying to limit myself to 2 coffees a day. I'm drinking way more water, and I don't have to drive as much as I used to, so I'm having fewer fictional arguments behind the wheel of the car. Wait, what are you talking about? Oh, as a fan base? No, because it was another traumatic loss that caused us to be this squirrely before and during and after this game. I said it in the latest edition of Steve's Dang It's on the Sportsnet YouTube channel, and I'll say it here. Being a Leaf fan is being a hockey fan on legendary difficulty. But they won. So for now, yes, I'm okay-ish. So after watching tonight, are you still confident we can win with Hutchinson tomorrow? Right, so at the time I'm recording this, I don't know who the Leafs starter is going to be tonight. I personally think it should be Michael Hutchinson. And to answer your question, yes, I do think the Leafs can win with Michael Hutchinson. I saw the Leafs win with Michael Hutchinson last year, with a team that frankly wasn't as good. The problem for a lot of Michael Hutchinson's games is it was on the second half of a back-to-back, which it will be this time, but it was against a rested team. That's why the Habs ate him alive. The team in front of him was terrible. With this game against the Sens, there is no unfair advantage. They're both equally tired. You gotta be able to... Freddie has played in all but 2 games. That's not good enough. Coming into the season, we were expecting to get the most out of Freddie because Jack Campbell was going to give him as much rest as possible. Then Campbell got hurt. Freddie's been playing great. You need to find him rest. You can't just have Campbell back from injury and be like, all right, you're going to play 5 straight games or something like that. Give Hutch this one. This one. Better to have this game where he could potentially stink and the Leafs lose the game, but better to have that now than have a busted Freddie for the rest of the season and potentially playoffs. We need to talk about Riley. Yeah, okay, so let's acknowledge 2 things. Morgan Riley has not been good enough this season. He hasn't been. Offensively, I feel like he's trying things and he's playing differently from how he's been able to in the past. I'm not too worried about that. I'm mostly worried about him in his own end and some of his decision making. That being said, the calls to trade him are heartless, and you can't be totally heartless. Not heartless as in you're not taking into account his feelings, obviously it's a business, but that would rip a hole through the Leafs locker room. You know it would. Also, I get his contract is sort of running up in value and blah. I'm curious where you think you're going to get a $5 million top 4 defenseman who plays over 20 minutes a night and has the offense that he does. Oh, they exist. There are some. There's not many, but there's some. Who's giving them up? I agree that Morgan Riley needs to be better, and I agree that he hasn't been as good as people would hope. I think trading him is asinine, though. And I know that's not what you asked, but I thought I'd bring it up. So Travis Boyd should be permanent, right? No, I don't think anyone in the 4th line should be permanent. But he's the guy to beat, that's for sure. And speaking of the guy to beat, is it just me or does he get absolutely crushed at least once a game? He got mangled in this one. Had to go to the bench because his helmet came off. I don't know about permanent, but Sheldon Keefe was looking for the right mix on his 4th line, and Travis Boyd is certainly the guy to beat. Beep, beep. Boop, boop. You know what, guys? Chanel's right. So the Leafs play the Senators again tonight, so there's no point prolonging this. So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. The Canadian division. So you want all Canadian matchups, do you? Here's all the Canadian matchups